It was 5:37 a.m. when the diner lights flickered on, casting a soft glow on the worn checkered floor. Emily Dawson, 23 and tired beyond her years, tied her apron for the sixth consecutive morning shift. The smell of burnt coffee and fried eggs clung to her clothes. Life hadn't been kind, but she greeted each day with quiet resilience, like a flower blooming in concrete. The small-town diner in rural Indiana didn't offer much excitement, mostly truckers, old men with morning routines, and the occasional tourist passing through. But Emily knew every inch of it like the back of her hand. She had worked there since she was 17, just after her mother passed. Since then, she had become the sole guardian of her younger brother, Noah, who was autistic and needed constant care. Every dollar she made went to rent, therapy, and keeping their little world from falling apart. That morning, as the first customers shuffled in, a man walked through the door. He was tall, wearing a worn coat and scuffed shoes. But it wasn't his appearance that stood out, it was his silence. He didn't speak, didn't order, just sat in the corner booth by the window and stared at the rising sun. His face was unreadable, eyes shadowed by a brimmed hat he didn't remove. Emily watched him for a while before walking over. "Can I get you anything, sir?" she asked gently. No response. She tried again, this time softer. "Coffee's on the house today. You look like you could use it." Still nothing. A few patrons glanced over, curious, but quickly returned to their meals. Emily poured him a hot cup of coffee anyway and placed it on the table. As she did, she noticed his hands trembling slightly. Something about him didn't sit right, not in a threatening way, but in a heartbreaking one. "Let me know if you need anything," she said, then returned to the counter. For the next hour, the man sat motionless, sipping the coffee slowly. He didn't look at anyone. Emily snuck glances between serving tables. She asked the cook to pack up a breakfast sandwich and left it beside the man without asking. He didn't eat it, but didn't push it away either. By the time her shift ended at 1 p.m., the man was gone. But the empty cup and untouched sandwich remained. So did a single $5 bill under the cup. The next day, he came back. And the day after that. Each time, he sat in the same booth, drank his coffee silently, and left. No words. No name. Just presence. Emily never pressed. Instead, she kept offering him coffee, sometimes slipping an extra muffin or sandwich beside it. She started calling him Mr. Silent in her head. And over the days, something strange happened. She began looking forward to seeing him. One particularly hard day, Emily had received a notice from the landlord, 3 days to pay or vacate. Noah's therapist had also raised fees, and Emily's exhaustion was starting to show. She hadn't cried in weeks, but that day, she nearly broke. She tried to hide it, but Mr. Silent noticed. For the first time, he looked her directly in the eyes. And something in his gaze felt like an anchor, steady, grounded, safe. He didn't say a word. But he left something behind when he exited the diner that day, a napkin with a simple sketch. It was a drawing of her. Standing behind the counter, smiling. Beside her was a small boy, clearly Noah, holding her hand. Emily clutched the napkin like it was gold. It wasn't just a picture. It was acknowledgement. Proof that someone saw her. 2 weeks passed, then 3. Mr. Silent didn't return. Emily asked around town. No one knew who he was. She began worrying, was he okay? Was he homeless? Did he vanish like so many others who carried invisible battles? Winter came. Emily kept grinding through double shifts, scrubbing plates and swallowing exhaustion. Her landlord finally relented after she promised to pay in installments, and a local nonprofit covered 1 month of Noah's therapy. Then, in the first week of January, a black Mercedes pulled up to the diner. It was entirely out of place in that rural corner of the world. A sharply dressed man stepped out, holding a leather briefcase, and walked in. Everyone stared. Emily blinked, disoriented. Then froze. It was him. Clean-shaven, hair combed back, suit tailored perfectly, but unmistakably Mr. Silent. "Hello, Emily," he said. It was the first time she heard his voice. Smooth. Calm. Like a violin string that had finally been plucked. Her mouth fell open. "You, talk." He smiled. "Always could. I just didn't want to." A dozen questions swirled in her head. Before she could ask any, he continued, "My name is Ethan Royce. I'm the CEO of Royce Global Investments." Emily blinked. That name sounded vaguely familiar. Maybe she had seen it in a newspaper once. "I lost my wife and daughter in a car accident last year," Ethan said, voice steady but thick. "They died instantly. I stopped talking that day. I disappeared from my company, from everyone. I just stopped." Emily said nothing, only listened as her heart thudded. "I wandered. 4 months. I was ready to end it, honestly. But then I met you." Her eyes widened. "You didn't know me. You didn't ask for anything. But you were kind. Consistently. Genuinely. You gave even when you had so little to give." Tears welled up in Emily's eyes. "You reminded me that humanity still exists. That there's still good in the world." He reached into his briefcase and pulled out a folder. "I want to reopen a branch of my company here. And I want you to help run it." Emily gasped. "Me? You have leadership written all over you," Ethan said. "You're smart, compassionate, and selfless. Qualities money can't buy and business schools can't teach." She shook her head, overwhelmed. "I don't have a degree. I've never even worked an office job." "Then we'll train you. I'll mentor you myself." Emily's legs gave way, and she sank onto a stool. She couldn't breathe. "I want to invest in this town, Emily. But more importantly, I want to invest in you." Over the next year, Emily's world transformed. She worked part-time at the diner while taking business classes, all funded by Ethan. Royce Investments opened its first satellite office in town, focusing on community development projects. Jobs were created. Roads fixed. Scholarships launched. And Emily? She became the regional operations head within 14 months. Noah got into a special school with world-class therapy and support. The townspeople watched in awe as the shy waitress who once scraped coins for rent became the heartbeat of a blooming local economy. But Emily never changed. She still visited the diner every Sunday. Still poured coffee for strangers. Still left an extra muffin near the corner booth by the window, just in case Mr. Silent ever needed it again. A year later, at a charity gala hosted by Royce Investments, Ethan took the stage. He looked over the crowd, smiled, and said, "There's someone here who reminded me that even when you're lost, the smallest act of kindness can lead you home." He pointed toward Emily, who sat in the front row with Noah beside her. "She gave me coffee when I couldn't speak. She gave me food when I couldn't eat. She gave me hope when I didn't believe in anything." The crowd erupted in applause. Emily covered her mouth, tears slipping down her cheeks. And Ethan added, "The world doesn't need more billionaires. It needs more Emilys. Sometimes the quietest gestures scream the loudest. Sometimes, a cup of coffee can save a life. And sometimes, the person you help when no one is watching becomes the very reason your life transforms. Because kindness always finds its way back. Even if it returns wearing a suit. As your boss. Or your miracle.